good evening and welcome to this session about Microsoft 365 and mainly two applications that we are going to see today. Microsoft Forms, among the different applications that are available in Microsoft 365. Microsoft Forms is here, Microsoft Forms, and we are going to use Power Automate as well, which is this one. Okay, 1 minute. With light, it's gonna be better. Yes, good evening again. My name is David, and I am a business intelligence consultant for Fumastra Management Consulting, based in Uganda. And we specialize in Microsoft technology, mainly Power BI, Excel, and the Power Platform, which includes Power Automate. Power BI is part of the Power Platform as well. Power Apps, and we have Power Virtual Agent as well, which doesn't show up inside here, but it's part of it. And of course, Microsoft 365, which includes all those applications as well. So we will start from Excel actually, and we will create a form for collecting data, and then we will see how to use Power Automate to generate automatically a certain type of communication, an email or an update of some sort. So first we are going, well, we can have a look at forms first, and we are going to see maybe two ways to create form actually. One starting from Excel and one form starting from Microsoft Forms. So I'm going to keep this page open. So I'm holding down the Control key and I'm clicking on Forms to open it in a new tab. So now we have opened it in a new tab. We can create a new form, or we can also close this, okay, and use one of those two buttons. So with Microsoft Forms, we can either create a simple form to collect data, or we can also use a quiz to give the possibility to weigh the answer and give points to answers collected. In our case, okay, we would need a simple form. And one of the use case of using Microsoft Form could be you are in HR and you are a job opening and you want applicants to apply for that job. And so you want to collect information about them, their personal detail, names, and maybe education, work experience, and so on. And you want to know if they have a bachelor's degree or if they have experience in a certain field that is useful for the job that you want them to do. So with Microsoft Forms, it will help you to centralize and structure those data that you want to collect and easily compare the different data that you have collected among the different applicants. And another case scenario could be you are you are in the purchase department and you want suppliers to bid for your supply opportunity, and you want them to fill a form to propose to you what they have to offer, their service, their product, and for which price and how they would expect to connect it and so on. You might have a certain type of data that you wish to receive, and Microsoft Forms could help with that. Instead of submitting physical documents or sending you an email, which wouldn't be very practical, you could structure those requests for data in a certain form, so their phone number, their email address, so that you can contact them, what they have to offer, the type of product, and so on, in comparison to what you would expect, of course, to have. So that's some of the use cases for Microsoft Form. So we can click on this one, and we can start our form. And I'm not going to construct a very complicated form because that's not the purpose, but we can easily give it a specific title. So let's say that we want to recruit. So we say recruitment form. We can enter a certain description if you want. So this form is for recruitment in that case. And then, well, eventually we can also add a picture if we want it. So, okay, there are different ways of customizing it. We can add the questions that we want, or eventually sections as well. So the type of question that we can have are choice, so single choice or multiple choice, text, rating, date, and also ranking, Likert, file upload. So for file upload, I guess you need to be part of the organization. You cannot give it outside of the organization. And then we have net promoter score, and then section. So section are like groups in which we are going to have different type of question. So you can see that you can go also beyond the typical recruitment or the use cases I mentioned before. Okay, collecting information from supplier or candidates. You can also think about your customers if you wanted them to give you a certain rating for your services, or feedback about a certain product that you deliver to them, service or product. You could have also such a form to ask them, okay, how would they rate your service or the experience that they have had in your business, in your restaurant, in your hotel, or in with your services of your business in general. So you have multiple questions that you can add. In our case, okay, we are going to have, okay, like the name. That would be where the answer would come. We mention if it is a long answer or not. In that case, the name should be short. If it is required or not, I'm not going to require it in that case, so that we can move a bit faster. And eventually we can have more options from here as well. If we click here, we can have subtitles, restriction. So if we want to restrict it to some numbers, for example, you see, we can have numbers, and eventually, okay, what type, well, in which category would be a number, okay, if it would be greater than, equal to, not equal to, etc., etc. Otherwise, it would be any type of text or number. So in our case, I'm going to remove the restriction, and then we have branching as well. Okay, so we are not going to talk about branching, but basically branching would mean if the answer is yes, continue to another question. If it is no, then move on to another question. So that's what branching would do. It's like an if case scenario. If this, then go to this question. If that, go to other question. So first question, the name. Then let's say we want to have a choice. Do you want well, of course it loses the purpose of the recruitment, but let's add whatever question inside just for creating a form. To go somewhere this weekend. Okay, again, okay, it doesn't mean much, but it's just okay to have some question inside. Then we have some suggestions that are proposed here. So yes, no, let's add maybe, and eventually we could add any other as well. In our case, okay, we are going to leave 3 choices possible, and those are one of those 3 options will have to be chosen. Okay, now we could choose also for multiple answers. If I take this, we can have more than one answer, so yes and no, for instance, which would not make sense in that case. So we leave it at a single answer, only one option possible. And let's add a date as well, for example, so which day, Okay, and the person can choose a day within the drop down here. And for each question, we can see we can add a picture as well. We can duplicate that question. We can delete that question and move it up, or we can move it down as well. So we can navigate between. So in my very simple form, I want to collect the name, a certain information about whether we want to go somewhere this weekend, and which day, as well as the third question. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so we can have multiple questions, and if I wanted as well, I could just add a section, and a section will create like a second page. So in the navigation, you would answer the question on the first page, then you would validate to move on to the second page, on which you will have other questions. So you can organize your form in a certain way. So I'm going to delete that, remove section, remove section. Okay. So we keep 3 questions, and with that we can have a preview of our form, see how it would look like from the user side, okay, from the user experience. And actually we can also we can see, okay, we can see from a computer's point of view and from a mobile device as well. So that's how someone who would access that form from a mobile device would see it, which looks nice, and from a computer as well, no problem. Very good. Let's go back. Then just beside we have the theme that we can use for our form. So currently we have this greenish theme. We can click on that and we can choose any other existing theme. So we could choose this one with a picture in the background. Then again, we can, once we have chosen our theme, we can go back to the preview and see if it looks the way we want it, and go back and change the theme again. So if we scroll down a bit, we have different type of suggested theme. We can choose also a color, just a simple background color. So let's say it could be orange or dark purple, pomegranate. And otherwise, okay, we can also customize the theme as well. Okay, so we can add our own picture, we can upload a picture and choose a certain color as well. So if you have a specific branding for your organization, you could customize it with that specific branding. So, well, for me, I'm going to choose, let's say, this one. That's good. Perfect. And once we have selected our theme, we can then share it if we want. Eventually, we can go and have a look at the different options, because I think there is something quite important and we need to activate before sharing it. We can look at settings, and here we need to be careful. We need to make sure that it's for anyone with the link can respond. Mainly if you expect external members, okay, external applicants to be able to access that form and fill it. Okay, so again, if we are looking at applicants in terms of jobs, or your customers or suppliers, you know, if you want to collect data from suppliers, anyone outside of your organization, you need to make sure that this is ticked. Okay, anyone with the link can respond. Otherwise, you can see that the second option is anyone, only people in your organization can respond. So if you were to share your form and people would not be able to access it, most probably it's because you haven't activated that option to leave anyone access that form and respond to it. Okay, so we need to enable that, and then we have other options. So we currently accept responses, that's fine. When we don't accept responses anymore, we can eventually untick it to make sure that we are not going to receive any response. Then we can have eventually a start date. If you wanted to start it on Monday, we could click that and select the date for which we want it to start, to be available. An end date, and eventually if we had a quiz, we could shuffle the questions and have a show progress bar as well. But I mean, for the show progress bar, I think you need to have more than one page actually. So this one only available for multiple page surveys, forms, and quizzes. So in our case, okay, we have only one page, so that's why it doesn't show up for this one. Then we can eventually customize the thank you the thank you message. So your response was submitted. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Okay, we will get back to you very soon. All right. And eventually, if you want to get an email notification for each response, so that you would receive an email, you as the creator of the form, you would receive an email to say, hey, someone has answered your form, maybe go and check it or something like that. Okay, so actually we can activate it. It's good. Well, if you expect a lot of people to enter that form, you might be receiving a lot of emails, so you need to be prepared for that. If you don't expect so many, and maybe mainly if you would expect customer feedback, that could be interesting, okay, to make sure that you receive a notification so that you can also follow up with that. Make sure you review the answers and react to the answers. All right, so now we can share it, and once we share it, okay, we can so again we have this information. Anyone with the link can respond, otherwise the other option is only those in your organization. So we can copy that link and then paste it inside an email or inside a communication message of some sort. Otherwise, okay, we can obtain a QR code, or we can embed the form inside a website also if you wanted, or directly send it per email. So when I click on this email, I believe something should open. I don't see anything here. Okay, I would have expected something to open to give me access to some email, but it doesn't seem to react. It takes a long time. So, okay, let's keep the link. Now, we can just preview it and fill the form and see how it goes. So if I type my name here, okay, David G, and then let's say I want to go and yes, and then the date, it's gonna be, okay, Saturday the 28th of November, and then I can submit my response. So we have our customized message. Okay, thanks, your response was submitted, thank you very much, we'll get back to you very soon. Okay, so we have eventually the possibility to submit another response, and if you want to restrict that, I think there should be a settings also to restrict that. Let's go back to the setting, accept responses. Okay, I don't see any option to restrict that. Okay, well, otherwise, as we are here actually, we can see that we can have the form in multi languages as well if we were addressing different market segments, different languages, and otherwise we can eventually print that form as well, which seems a bit weird, but it's there. So we can eventually print that form. I don't see it very useful, but okay. Let's go back. Okay, so now we have submitted one response. Okay, I need to log in again. So we have submitted one response, even though it was in preview, it worked. We can see that our responses are here, available responses. And well, we have only one response, but if we had multiple responses, well, we would see them inside here. Okay, so we have different responses that are available here. Okay, so that's where we can see some responses. And the most important thing is that we can obtain that in Excel. And the difference that I wanted to show is that when you create a form from Microsoft Forms, from within the Forms application, and you click on Excel, it's going to download an Excel file that is no longer connected to that form. So that's what can be a bit disturbing. And actually, I would not really recommend starting from Microsoft Forms. I would rather recommend to start from Excel, which we are going to see right now. So in our Excel file, well, we can open it and we can have a look at what's inside. And otherwise, we are going to create another form because, again, you have Excel Online and Excel Desktop. In that case, when the file is downloaded, it loses the connection with the form, and any new response would not be integrated inside that Excel file. So you would need to go again to download that file, and you would have multiple files, which is not very efficient. So inside that file, we can see the answer to our question, and well, you can see where it would make sense for your purpose in particular, whether it is HR collecting data from clients or collecting data from suppliers or from even employees. If you were requesting, when would you like to go on leave? Mention the date when you want to go on leave, what type of leave do you want, how long, or whatever. You could have everything inside here, and you could review those that responded yes, activating those filters. It's an Excel table with all the capabilities of an Excel table, with sort option, filtering option, and eventually calculation. You can add also columns to create some calculation and whatsoever. So, but again, this is the Excel file which is no longer connected to that survey. So that's why it's a bit disturbing. Okay, let's close that. Let's close our form and let's go back to, well, we can keep it open. Let's go back to Microsoft Office, and then we are going to start from Excel. We create a blank note workbook, and from within that workbook, we are going to create a form. So it's important to start from Microsoft Excel Online, and you wouldn't be able to do that from Excel Desktop. Let's have a look at Excel Desktop just to show the difference, because from inside here, let's go to, open this and minimize it. So insert, from the Insert tab, we have a new button which is not available in the desktop one. From the desktop one, if I go inside Insert, I don't have this option to insert a form, a Microsoft Forms. I don't have it inside here. So I need to start from Excel Online. And Excel Online, well, from Excel Online, you can create a forms. Okay, so we can click on that and we can create a new form from here. And so we are going to name it, like holiday. Okay, so, or vacation, holiday, whichever. Okay, so vacation. So please enter details about your vacation. Okay, and we add, so we have first name, then we add the last name, then we add a certain date. When would you like to go? Like to go on leave. Okay, and is it what else can we add? Okay, let's leave it with 3 questions. You can see that you can add multiple questions depending on the case for which you want to use it. We previously used the choice 1, the multiple choice answer. We have other option available. Okay, let's keep it short with that. And now we go back to our Excel file and note something quite important. Excel created a new worksheet which it's called Form 1. And then Excel created a table inside with the name of our question. Well, the first one are actually those automatic columns created by Microsoft Form and Excel themselves. Those are standard. The ID of the record, the start time, the completion time, the email eventually of the person who has answered it, and the name of the person. Yeah, in that case we have the name, first name and then last name, and then when would you like to go on holiday on leave. Okay, where we should have a date. So why do we have the email and the name? Because the form is actually meant to be for within the organization. If we look at the settings, we can see that it's only for people in my organization, and because it's for people within the organization, automatically Microsoft Office will recognize those who have answered that, because they can only be inside the organization. So currently the organization in which we are is Fumastra.training, and I'm using my account David, and if I was with another account, then as long as it is Fumastra Training, it recognizes it, and anybody from the organization can fill it and it will be recognized automatically. Okay, so let's have a look and preview the form, and we can test it. So I enter my name and the date. I'm going to select next week Monday. Okay, I want to get Monday off, and I submit that. Thank you. Again, we could have customized the response, okay, the submission response, but okay, we have seen it previously, so now I'm going to leave it like that. We have our response here, again as before. So this time we don't need to download it. Okay, well, if I were to open it in Excel, in that case it opens a new tab with our file or workbook online. Okay, we have it already. I'm going to close this. Oops, I've closed it. Okay, well, I can open it again. Okay. All right. Okay. And we can see our response inside. Okay, inside. And again, because it's within the organization, Forms recognizes me automatically. So capture my email address, my name, and even though I entered my last name differently. Okay. So we have those information. So now we can use that form. Okay. And what I wanted to do also, let's open a new one, office.com. Which account I'm going to use. Lin R, okay. So I'm going to connect with another account. Okay, it's not. Ah, yeah. Okay. Let's copy that. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to connect with another account as if I were that person. All right. And now I'm going to access that form. And for that, I'm going to share it. Let's go back to our form. Now it's ready, so I can actually share it. Again, I'm going to try, okay. Share to collaborate, share as a template. Okay, I'm going to share. So again, I am sharing it just with people within the organization, but the same could apply if it is outside of the organization, so you know how to change it. I'm going to copy the link. Okay, I copy that, and I'm going to send an email. Let me go back of email up. I'm going to go to Outlook. I'm going to send an email to Lynn. All right, welcome. Yeah, okay. So Lynn, okay, here she is, and form to fill. Okay, and the link inside here. So now she has the link. Note that a new response was for recruiter was submitted. Discard this. Previously, you remember that I activated to get notified when a response was submitted with the recruitment form that we created, and this is what it looks like to receive a notification. So recruitment form, hi David, okay, you received the one new response from anonymous submitter. So when it's outside of the organization, the system, okay, cannot recognize who is filling that form, so it's identified as anonymous submitter, okay, submitted a response. And now we are going to see from within the organization. So I'm going to activate settings and get notification for that. And now I'm going to go from lean perspective, open Outlook. And here we have the email that I sent to Lynn about the form to fill. So now Lynn can click that form, and we can see that, okay, now I am from Lynn account. Okay, so holiday vacation. So now Lynn can answer that. So Lynn and the dates that she wants, let's say it's gonna be, okay, Tuesday. She wants to get Tuesday. All right, thanks. We have the response. All good. Okay, so we've shared the form with someone within the organization. We just sent an email. Lynn has replied to that form, okay? And now we are receiving a notification because we have a new email that come in. The new email is saying, okay, new response for holiday. Okay, you received a new response from Lynn Robbins, and in that case, we have the name because the system could identify it's within the organization, and the organization's people are known, so that's fine with that. Now let's go back to our well, Excel. We have the second answer, which is automatically inserted in our Excel workbook within the table. So it's again structured within a table. We have the date when it was started, the date when it was completed, and the email address of the different person, the name of the people, and so on and so on. Okay, and when they want holiday. And in our form, well, we have now two responses. Okay, so that's good with that. Now let's go second step. So this we can close. Okay. Now what we want to do with that is notice that, okay, Lynn doesn't receive a message that she has successfully submitted. Okay, so we want now to automatically send an email to Lynn when she submits that information. So what we need to do, we go back to Microsoft Office and we go back to all apps, and we are going to use Power Automate. So that's where Power Automate comes in. We are going to, well, create a certain automation process that will automatically send an email when a form is submitted. So Power Automate helps create workflows between your apps, so multiple apps, files, data, to automate time-consuming tasks. So in that case, myself, well, let's say I am the manager of Lynn, and I have received, okay, I need to go back from my account actually. And I need to do it from here. So let's say I am the manager of Lean, and I want just to inform Lean, hey, thank you, okay, we have received your request, we will review it and we will see if we accept it or not. So in that case, I want to save me time also, and I want to automate that process to inform. And again, it could be a client, it could be an HR, a candidate for a job, or a certain supplier who want to provide services and goods, and you want to say, hey, thank you very much for submitting, for your application, for your interest, and for your response in the survey. We'll review whatever you have submitted, and we want to get back to you as soon as possible. So we want to automate that. Within Power Automate, we are going to create a new flow. On the left side of Power Automate, you have the menu pane to navigate between the different options that are available inside Microsoft Power Automate. On the first page, you have different things available to you. First, different explanation of what you can do with it, and templates readily available, and maybe those that are the most used within the Power Automate users. We can see that this type of template has been used 662 times, more than 662 times, and this one 370. So those are certainly the most common ones that are used pretty much all the time by users in general. Okay. And just below we have the different applications that we can connect to monitor activities, or to trigger other activities, other actions, and eventually, okay, use to populate information, create different activities of some sort. Okay, so now with that, I'm going to click on create, and I want to create a new workflow. So okay, the first time you are using it, you need to change to select the region. I want Uganda on my side, and I get started, and up it's moving on. All right, so I want to create an automated flow. Okay, you have multiple type of flows that are available. So automated flow, instant flow, scheduled flow, UI flow, business process flow. Today we are going to concentrate on automated flow. Again, you have different templates. You could eventually start from a template, and if you want to search for a template, we can go on the right side and search for a template. Let's say I want to see if there is already something that exists for Microsoft Forms. So I would type forms inside, and I validate with the enter key on my keyboard, and now I have all the different templates that are existing with Microsoft Forms. So, well, I see send form responses for approval. Imagine, okay, it would be for holiday requests. It is to be approved by the line manager, and maybe the HR also, with centralizing all the requests. So you would do that with this template, for instance, where you have a form submitted, an approval process, SharePoint, then Microsoft Office, and Outlook to send an email. And for our case, I think this one seems to correspond pretty well, because it says send an email to responder when a response submitted in Microsoft Forms. So this has been created by Microsoft Flow community. It's an automated one, and we can see that it has been used already 58,183, and with us now it's going to be 58,184 times used. So we can click on this one, and because it is a template, it's almost done for us. So Microsoft Forms, or Microsoft Power Automate, is going to connect to two applications, Microsoft Forms and Office 365 Outlook. It requires the permission, and it requires so the user to sign in for that. So we are going to Now we can see that I am signed in for those two applications. We can just continue. Takes a bit time, and now it brings us to that template in particular. Notice that we have saved a lot of time because that template is pre-created for us with everything almost what we need. So we have the different connectors. Well, we have two connectors, okay, Outlook and Microsoft Forms, and the different action steps that are created already. So the first one is what we call a trigger. So a trigger is a certain type of action which activates or is being triggered when something happens. And in that case, okay, our trigger is happening when a new response is submitted. So when a new response is submitted, we are going to get the details of that response, and then we are going to, well, I'm not so sure the condition is very necessary in our case, but okay, why not? And then send an email. Okay, so here we have a certain condition that says if body response, okay, or body responder, if the body responder is clearly identified, if it's not anonymous, then we can send an email. Otherwise, well, if it's anonymous, well, we would find another way. So, okay, you know, if you don't need it, okay, you could just click on those three dots and then delete it, and then add different steps or actions as you want. Okay, so well, we are going to leave it for today and keep it very simple and just use that template. So in the first one, we need to inform Power Automate, okay, which form we want to monitor and activate that trigger. So we are going to click on the menu here, well, on the drop down. That drop down is going to list all the different forms that we have created and that are available in our account. So you remember when we connected that action step, we connected it to David at Training, and we created those forms within our application. So they are available here. The two forms that we created are available. Let's choose holiday vacation, so the one that we created. We want to trigger a certain action. That flow should be triggered when a response is submitted. The second step, we are going to get the details of that response. So that's what that step does. It gets the details. We have, yeah, unique identifier. Okay. So now we have selected it. We need to select it out as well. Okay. And we have the response ID. So it's going to get the response ID from the previous step and get all the details. Then, once we have access to all the details, we are going to compare the responder to anonymous. If it's not anonymous, we have the detail to send an email, and this is what we can do with that. So when I click within one of those fields, text fields, we have a certain dialog box that open on the right side that give me access to all the different elements from the previous steps. In that case, when I am on the second step, I can access the elements from the previous step, which is the first step. On the third step, this step, I can access elements from the second step. So now, because on the second step we are getting all the details from the response submitted, when I click wherever within the condition, I can access all the details available from that second step that was provided. So now we have access to our form's detail, the first name, the last name, when would you like to go on leave, responder's email, and everything. So with that, we can construct our flow and our automation process. So when it's not anonymous, we have the email address, we can email that person, and we want to use the information that's available. So the responder's email, that's fine. The subject should be, okay, well, in our case, we are going to change it. We are going to remove that. And we are going to say request. So request for holiday, okay? Because the purpose is that holiday, vacation. So request for holiday, the subject of our email. Then we have the body of our email. So that's where we can write our message. And we can personalize it because we have the detail available here. So for instance, we want to say, hi, first name. Whoever responds should be addressed by the first name. So we can place here that first name element, which comes from the forms that has been submitted. Then we can continue our email. I'm going to delete all the things. We don't need that because we are going to customize our response. So hi, first name. Thanks for your request for leave for the. So we have the date as well. So we can say, okay, thanks for your request for leave for the date. So we should have access to that date. When would you like to go on leave? So okay, we can have access to that date. Okay, so we are going to place that's the date. Remember, when would you like to go on leave? That's where the responder puts the date. Okay, date of leave. So we are going to place it here. We can eventually format that date, but I'm not going to make things very complicated right now. To format that date, we would need to apply a certain expression. We have different functions that are available that gives us the possibility to manipulate our data. Functions that are specific for strings, for collection or arrays or lists. Logical functions that have if, equals, and, or, not, and so on. We can see more as well. And conversion functions as well, math functions, and date and time functions. So if I wanted to transform my date, maybe I would use one of those. But again, we are going to keep it simple. We are not going to make things too much complicated. So I will not go into that. We can just, okay, sign below, okay, David, okay. So we have now completed our automation process. So whenever a new response is submitted for that particular form of holiday vacation, that flow is going to get details from that response submitted. If the response is not an anonymous response, we have details necessary to send our email, and we can create our email with the responder's email address. Okay, so that's the responder's email address. We have customized our email as well. Hi, first name. Thank you for your request for leave for when would you like to go on leave. Okay. So now we can save that and we can eventually test it. So not that we have the flow checker as well. If there were a mistake inside, if there was an error, it would show up here. So if I remove that, which is an obligatory field, you see that it has an error, it shows an error. The response ID is required, which is this one that I just deleted before. So we need to mention it. Now, the flow checker is okay, doesn't alarm us for anything. We can go and test it. So we test it, okay, we can, I'll perform the trigger action, for instance. So we can go on and test it, okay. So, all right, okay, I'm going back to Lean and I'm going to submit another response. Again, that's Lean again, submitting another response. So Lean, okay, R, and our date. So let's say that now she wants another one, which is going to be on the 9th of December, December 9, and we are going to submit that. So remember, when a new response is submitted, our flow is going to be triggered get all those details and send an email automatically to Lynn. So I'm going to submit that, and not what's going to happen. We are going to receive boom, a notification. You see how quick it is. Automatically we'll receive a notification, and we have our email which says, okay, hi Lynn, the first name has been replaced by the right name of the person. Thanks for your request for leave for the 2020-12-09, which is the dates that Lynn requested for the leave. So that email was generated automatically by the flow, by Microsoft Automate. We can go back to our flow, and we note that our flow test was successful. It ran successfully, and we have had, well, all the different steps appear as green, so that's fine. We can have a look inside as well. So inside here we have, okay, well, you know, some that's the form ID, okay? That's the form ID that is used inside here, and all the responses details that are available. So the first name is here, the last name, and so on and so on, and some JSON format that shows up how the data is actually organized, okay? So, okay, we don't need to know all those details for now. And our condition as well, so, well, it's true in that case, okay? It's not anonymous, so the answer is true, the evaluation of the test is true, and because it's true, it's yes, okay, so it sent the email, okay, so it has collected the email address via the form. Well, it's behind the scene because Lynn was authenticated, so it's there. And then, okay, we have the body message as well, okay, so all succeeded correctly. Now we have automated one step, but let's say, what happens if you know, we are going to create something else. So now we want to have, okay, the reply, okay, so let's say here a response, okay, or status approved or not, okay, approved, okay, we want to have it inside here. So we can also add a certain column inside here and have it approved or not approved, okay, or something like that. So now we can go back to Power Automate, up, create a new flow. So we can also do it from My Flows, create a new one here. So that's the flow that we just created. It's automated and it's ready to run anytime, okay? So it doesn't need to be more activated than that, okay? It's just like this. Anytime there is a response submitted, that flow will trigger and automatically will generate an email and everything, okay? So now we want to create another one, automated from blank. And now we are going to, we won't use a template, we are going to create it from scratch. Let's say holiday approval, okay, so holiday approval. And when, and you know, we want Excel, so we can look for Excel, okay, Excel. We don't have a trigger for Excel. Okay. When a file is modified, let me see. Connectors, what we have. So if you want to see actually to all the different connectors that are available, we can go on the left side here, connectors. We can see all the different connectors that are available, and we are going to look at our connector, which is Excel. Note that you don't just have Microsoft connectors, but you have also like Twitter and many other connectors that are not Microsoft at all, okay? Even Google application Google, Gmail, and different things. So I'm going to stay on Excel Online. Excel Online, I thought I had clicked on it. Okay, it's opening. And I want to check, okay, what can we do with Excel Online? So we have all the explanations that are available for what we can do with Excel Online. And for each trigger, we have a set of actions or triggers that we can do. So in that case, we can delete a row, get get worksheets, list rows present, add a row into a table, add a key, update a row, and run a script. Okay, I thought we could, trigger a certain set of action if a response is submitted, but we cannot do that. So if we wanted to actually, okay, well, because we have that template which is available, if we wanted that request to be approved, then we could use this one. Let me see if I can do it. It might be even better. Okay, we can go a bit quicker. We are going to connect it. Because we are using a template, it's gonna go faster. So we are going to pick our form. So when a holiday or vacation form is submitted, we want to get all the details, and then okay, approval. So we have an approval process, title, approval for holiday. We can customize this. Assign to, so I'm going to assign it to myself. Okay, David. Okay, that's where I am. Details, so that's where we can place the details. So request holiday for 444. We have the date that we can use. So when would you like to go on leave? That's the date that we can place inside. So we have our details, request holiday for, and then we can place the link to the form eventually. So okay, that's mainly okay useful for a SharePoint list and access to the SharePoint list to validate or to check it from there. We don't always have it for the form's response. Okay, so we can leave it at that. Okay, so we are going to generate an approval process to request for the leave, and if, well, we have a condition, because if it is approved, condition, so if, well, just we don't need, doesn't take any argument, that's one, because an approval process is either yes, either no. So in that case, we want to update our file, so it's gonna be where do we have it? SharePoint group. OneDrive for business. Yeah, that's the one. What did they name it? Oh, it's just named book. Okay, so maybe we change the name. Okay, to holiday request. Okay. All right. So our workbook is holiday request. OneDrive document library. OneDrive, and then the file. Okay, we click on that little icon, and we have holiday request, which appears here. Okay, so now we have selected our file. We have selected the location where our workbook is, and what's the name of the workbook that we want to update. It has to be structured within a table. Because our data is structured within a table, we can also use mention the table name, and then we want to update, add a row into a table. We just want to update a row. We should be able to do that. So what about if it is add action, Excel delete, get, run, update a row. That's what we want. We want to update a row. So we are going to remove that. I'm going to, okay, yeah, all right. Location, so it's OneDrive for business. The document library is OneDrive. Our file is holiday. Our table is table 1, and then the key column is actually ID. The key value, what is this? I am not so sure. Key value, what does that represent? Let's put back the ID. No, we had what's this key value? I am not so sure. I'm getting a bit confused with that key value. Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah. The response ID, yeah. Because we need to notify, okay, to what row we need to update. We need to update the row for which the ID is corresponding to the response ID, okay. And so we need to update, okay, those one are obligatory, those one are non-obligatory. We want to update, okay, approval if it is yes or no. So the response, okay, we want to get the response. And we can see we could eventually mention the response dates, approver name and everything. Again, we are going to keep it simple to have it like this. So 2, we are going to send it to, well, the responders, okay, and approver name, okay, that's going to be my name. Approve the request. Your request has been approved with the following. So we could eventually customize, but we want to keep it simple, so we are not going to change much of that, okay. So that's it. Let's save it. And now, okay, we are going to, okay, let's save it again. Okay, we go away. Yes, okay, now we are good. Okay, so up. We need to, I'm going to deactivate this one. No, this one, send an email. So I'm going to deactivate it because otherwise both would be triggered at the same time, which, okay, it would be disturbing. So we turn it off. So now I go back from Lynn. So Lynn wants to place a new request. So she's going to access that form. And now she's going to say, okay, Lynn, and she wants to have a holiday on the 10th of December. Once she submits, the flow is going to be triggered, sending an email to David, myself, for an approval request for leave. And I'm going to either approve or reject, and it's going to update that file. Note that we could have also, no, it's gonna send an email also back to Lynn with the response. Perfect, okay. So now, okay, we submit that. Your response was submitted, okay. I'm going back to my, boom, I've received the alert. So a new response for holiday has been submitted. Okay. Now we should receive also the approval. If we don't see it here, let me go to my flow. Action item approval. And I haven't yet received it. So, okay, let's go back to our what happened with our request, my flows. It's here. Okay, it's still running. Okay, so it's take a bit time. At least there, it doesn't seem there is an error. It's still running, and we can see, okay, that it's still active here. We can click on that, actually, on that link, and access the flow and the different processes. So it has started an approval, and okay, I thought it was sending it to me. Approval, okay. Okay, there is no approval. Let me check again. What did I do with that flow edit? Which email did I put inside? Yeah, that's my email, so it should send me assigned to David. So it should send me, and I am connected here with David. Okay. Oops. So where? Ah, that's a bit worrying. Okay. I don't know why it's not arriving here. It should work. It's my email, and we can see maybe on the side of Lean, we go to Power Automate. Automate is here. Okay. So if we go from the side of Lean Action, items approval. Okay, so she needs to update that as well. Get started. Okay. And received and then sent. She should have a sent one. Um, then I am getting confused. I am getting confused. Okay, this is currently running. It should have sent the request. We can see that the first two have worked correctly, and well, it has started an approval, and we should have received that request for approval, um, which is getting me confused because we should have it here. So maybe it's taking abnormally longer time than usual. I'm not so sure. So very confusing. Normally, okay, you get a response. Well, you get the possibility to choose to approve or reject, and when you either well, whatever the decision you take, it's going to go to the next step. So let's open again our flow. So it's okay. Edit. So in that case, okay, when a response is when a response is submitted, we should either go to left or right and update the Excel file, and that should have worked normally. So, oops, we have an email here. Request for approval. Wow, it took a long time. It works. So finally, okay, good news. Okay, it works, but just that it's taking a bit longer. Okay, well, you know, it's taking a bit time. It's not that much long because we are just doing that demonstration now, so it's a bit disturbing, but it's there. Okay, it's not a mistake on my side. It's good. So now we can approve it. All right, we have received the approval request, which shows okay, approval for holiday, request for holiday for the dates that has been requested. Good. Okay, we could have put the name of the person who requested as well, so we can eventually reject it or we can approve it. Okay, so we are going to approve it. Yes, okay, cool, go ahead. Okay, and we submit that. So you see, it takes a bit time, but it works, it's there, no problem. And now, okay, bing bing, because it's Lynn who receives the email, we can go to our flow first. We can see that our run history has gone through. It's all green, our flow ran successfully. We can see in the branching that it went left because the evaluation turned to be true, and the other option has been ignored, and it has sent the email. So now from Lynn perspective, she can go back. Okay, she didn't send because it was not from her side. Okay. Now we can see the email that I sent to Lynn, and which is automated. Okay, and we have, okay, your request has been approved for with the following comments. Yes, cool, go ahead. So now Lynn's holiday has been approved. So you see how things can be automated. Uh, you know, it could be a supplier's request, or any other evaluation request. If you want to have a bit more flexibility or some triggers, you could use a SharePoint list eventually, where you can have triggers inside the SharePoint list, which is not available in Excel. But we have done the demonstration, creating a form, starting from Microsoft Forms, where we have seen, okay, some difference. Okay, when we start with Excel Online, we can create a form, collect data, different type of data, and automate some processes such that, okay, we send an email automatically, we update a record automatically, a row in Excel with some data. We can have a look at our Excel file. Where do I have it? Holiday request. Now we can see our Excel file has been updated. We have in that column the mention that it has been approved, and we could have also different elements like by who it has been approved, when it has been approved. For HR purposes, it could be very good, because we have, you know, all the history tracked about who did what and when it was requested, who has been approved, and when, by who, and how, and so on and so on. So this is very practical. So we have seen some automation processes with all the things. I hope it was interesting and you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching and taking the time to be with us. It takes a bit some time. We have spent about 1 hour and 15 minutes. But I hope it was useful. If you have any comment, please leave any comment in the section of the YouTube comment part. Okay. So otherwise, thank you very much for watching. And if you have any request for next time, for the next session, we meet every month. So if you want something else, please let me know, so that we can prepare in advance for something, anything within the application of Microsoft Office, anything that you would like to learn more about, if it is Power Automate or Power Apps as well, or any of those applications, feel free. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you a very nice evening and a lovely weekend as well. Bye bye.